Hi, this is PD at BurgZerg Arcade at BurgZergArcade.com, and this is tutorial number 87. So in this tutorial we're going to continue on with our camera controls. So let's go ahead and open up Unity. And where we left off in the last tutorial was we got the camera to automatically go to our player when it starts, but it's not updating every frame unless we're holding down the right mouse button. So that's a pretty simple fix. Let's just go into Mono Develop and we'll do that now. So here in our late updates where we're taking care of all of our camera movement. So what I'm going to do is right after the check to see if we're holding the button down, I'm just going to put an else clause. So if we're not holding the camera down, I am just going to take these two lines and post them right in. And I'll tab them in to make sure that the indentation's right. Take a quick look, it should be fine. So let's go ahead and start it. And we'll notice the camera stays with it and the right clicking still works. Now when you right click and you move it around a bit and you stop clicking, it automatically bounces right back to behind the character, and that's fine for now, but when you right click again, it automatically updates to wherever it is you left off before you let go on the last right click. I don't mind it bouncing back behind the character right now, but I don't really want it to jump to where where you had the mouse position the last time you were right clicking. So I'm going to change a couple things here. Now we'll notice that the X and the Y variable are what controls where the mouse is going to be positioned when we're holding down the right mouse button. So in our else clause, I'm just going to reset these. So I'm just going to say X equals 0 and Y equals 0. Now it's not exactly what we want, but it should be at least good enough for now to stop it from going to where the last time we were when we held down the right mouse button. So if we let go, it bounces back, and there we go. We start off behind the character again. Okay, so the next thing I want to start working on is having the camera follow behind our character really smoothly. So as our character turns, the camera doesn't just, like get glued to the back of his head, and I want it to sort of lag just a little bit behind how the player moves. But before we actually get into that, let's go ahead and clean up some of this. We're going to need a character that moves, so I'm going to disable the character that I've already made, which is really just a capsule. And I've included the character controls package. And just in case you're wondering which one that is, we'll just go to the asset store. Wait for it to load up. I'll go to my downloaded assets, and it's just the character controllers. So just import that, and you'll get a third-person controller and a first-person controller. I'm just going to use the third-person controller for now. It actually comes with a little model of a construction man as well. But I'm just going to take that, drag it into my scene, but I want it to be around where my character was. So I've disabled the character, he's right there. So I'll just drag him in right about here. I'll zoom in, make sure he's not below the ground, which he is. So I'm just going to bump him up above the ground. And I'm going to go ahead and disable the third person camera script because we're running our own. And if we go to our camera script, I'm going to have to go ahead and reassign the new target to our third person controller. And I think that's it. There's no camera attached to him. So let's quickly test this out. Make sure that the camera follows him. Okay. But if you notice when you turn left and right, I want the camera to kind of slowly rotate behind him. And right now it doesn't. Like, even right now, I think with the way it is, it's still a dramatic improvement over the script we're currently using. But it's still not quite exactly what I want. So we'll stop that. I'm just going to save the scene just in case anything happens. And let's go into Mono Development. I've already added a to-do list, the keys that I'm going to be using that I'll have to add to the input manager, but we'll get to that in a later tutorial. There was a couple things that just annoyed me. It was late last night when I made my last tutorial, and for my private variables, I like to prefix all of them with an underscore, just so I know later on down in my script that these variables are private and need to be exposed if I want them to be accessible to other scripts. So since I've gone ahead and changed these variable names a bit, I'm going to have to come down and change them here as well. Now you can just use the search and find. The script itself is not that long, so I'm just going to manually do them and hope I don't make any mistakes. But if I do, I'm sure it'll tell me. There, blah blah blah, down here, and we'll save that off. Quick test, make sure I didn't miss any. It doesn't look so. Yep, okay. And another thing I want to do is I don't want to get a bunch of errors saying that, you know, my target was undefined or not assigned. So up here I'm checking to see if it equals null, and I output this warning. I'm also going to put an else block in here, and I'm going to move the camera setup into it, and I'm going to want to make my awake function. Now the awake function is the first thing called, and this is where I generally like to put all my assignments in. So I'm going to move my transform up there so it grabs that even before the script is done loading. And down into my update right here, I'm going to add one more nested if block, and I'm just going to say if target does not equal null. So this way here, I spelled that all wrong. So this way here, if we don't have a target, it's not going to try to move my camera based on, you know, where my target is. So we'll just cut and paste this whole block in here. And if you're using MonoDevelop, you can just actually select that whole block again, hit tab, and it'll automatically indent everything for you. And this one's a little far in. So there's no errors. It should work just like it did before. Hold the button down, everything's moving. But let's actually go in and take the script off the camera, or at least get rid of his target. I'll say none. Now when we start it up and we move, the camera doesn't move, but we're not getting a bunch of errors. And if you notice, we just get that one warning, we do not have a target. And I'll just quickly update that message to tell it for the camera. That's what happens when you do too much programming late at night. So I'm going to go ahead and reassign my third-person controller to my target script. Go back here, save it.